Yes. Welcome back. We're on 59 minutes. We are having a discussion with a gentleman and lady from Zentori Conference. We are speaking about leadership and training. If you're just joining us, you've missed a whole lot, but you haven't missed too much. There's still something you can get out of this. One of the things you guys have written here is a quote from Albert Einstein. It says, "Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school." I really like that. And since you have used it in your, in your motto, so to speak, what are you getting at really? Tell us.
Well,
how you're applying that.
Okay, so you learn, experience is really what teaches you wisdom. And in school, you can learn equations, you can learn a lot of things that you can mechanically do. I'll give you an example. So when you do math in school, you learn sines, cosines, and tangent. And when I was at school, some of my friends would say, "Sir, what do I need to learn this for? It's all about numbers and ratios. How am I going to apply this?" And he would say, "Don't worry, son, learn it now. Later on, you'll find out." Mm-hmm. So in school, it's all about learning about the tools. It doesn't really teach you about life. And when you go to life, you realize that everything you learned at school, no matter what it is and what subject, they're all interconnected. So I'm going to give you another example. So we know that those who study music are normally pretty good at math. Why is that? Well, it's because, you talk about beats in a bar. There's fractions that are in there. There are some things that are conceptually mathematical in music, but you're not really learning math. You just learn a concept, but that's an experience. And so, once you've done school, you think you know everything. When you go into the real world, you realize you've only just started to learn. And you started to learn because now you've got to apply everything you learn to something in a way that makes
and they fit in different places.
Absolutely. And I think everything is connected. No matter what you do, everything is connected in some way. And so it's better to be broad than deep and narrow. Broad and get a good sense of what's going on around you, rather than just be deep and narrow, because then you can only apply the concept here. You don't know how to really transfer it elsewhere.
So for example, nobody teaches you about personal branding in school, but you realize that, if you want to be successful in whatever you do, you need to have a personal brand. And that's something that most of us are completely oblivious of. Do people know you as this person who is always late, as this person who is always chatting on the phone when in meetings, you this person whose phone is always ringing? I mean, what's your personal brand? What do you want people to remember you for? And it's in different categories. It's at your workplace, at home. What do your kids know you for? Is it positive with the people you meet in the village, or the people, the lowest of the low, or the people you meet on the road? Are you known as this person who is always bullying everyone on the road? So those are things you don't learn in school, but are really important. And those are the kind of things that we offer. We help you really to analyze yourself, to figure out, this is what's stopping me from achieving my potential. How can you help me and learn it better, that I may be able to get to my potential?
I like that about personal branding. It's even got me thinking already, what's my personal brand?
What do people know you for? When they hear the word Levi, what do they
say? What comes to mind? Yeah,
exactly. And it's important.
Yeah. Because it's a very key thing, because then that's the make or break it. Now, let me ask, when you say you partner with other people, it means that the two of you don't just do your trainings, just the two of you. Tell us a bit about that.
So we recognize that we don't know everything, and there are other people who know more than we do, but what we try to identify are the areas of need. So we would partner with those people who have the expertise. One example is, if I can mention their name, Emergency Trainers of Kenya. They've been training for the last 15 years on things like first aid and not forensics, some of the other medical training services that they offer. and they're well known, for example, from even from a corporate and a governmental perspective. And so we bring them in because they are one of the best in the field. So we want to partner with them because we want to maintain that quality that we want. So we partner with them so that we offer our facilities. They don't have a facility in Nairobi, they have one in Machakos. There's a lot of people in Nairobi who want that, so we partner with them to make sure we provide a facility, they provide the training, and people in Nairobi get what they need. That's one example of how we would partner with someone.
I hear you. Damaris, you want to say something?
Yeah, and I was just going to give another example. You see, for example, if we get a group of young disabled individuals who want to be independent, they want to learn about cooking skills. We are not trained chefs, so we'll partner with some of the best chefs who've also worked with physically challenged individuals and impart the best training possible.
What if I come to you and I say, I'm having a problem with the way I'm doing things and with my company, but I don't know what, and I see I need help, but I don't know where.
Okay, so you mean a problem like management-wise or anything like that?
In terms of you've put a business up, it's running, but somehow there is something you can see you're missing,
and that's
but you can't put your finger on it.
Yeah. So, even though we partner with people who have an established business and they do what they do, and we want to kind of partner with them, we're not limited to what people offer. We can actually do specific training for people. If there's enough interest, we can create something and get the best people in to actually address those issues. So one thing, for example, we have is like a business operations. So that would anybody who wants to learn how to run a business, not just throw something together and try to sell something, but they want to know how to set it up, what kind of licenses they need, how they go about doing their planning, and how they go about doing their modeling. We also have that. We have an expert who will come in to do that. So we're not tied to any one particular organization, but we can create anything that anybody wants. And if you have a particular need, and we have somebody who can address that, we can pull that in and create something out of that. We have a space, we can do whatever we want with that space.
Yeah, but maybe it's a HR related or it's a marketing related problem. Then we will pair you with the right person. If it's something HR, then we'll get you some of the best HR consultants or trainers to really help you unpack what that problem could be. And then put you on a path where we define these are the kinds of trainings that you will need, or this is the kind of change of behavior that you might need to go through to get to a place where you're comfortable at that workplace, or even just make some recommendations. If you're uncomfortable with a particular individual, try different like conflict resolution methods that might work, that are very unconventional if you haven't tried them before. Yeah.
So tell me, so there's a lot of focus on team building, for example, and there's a misconception, I think, that team building is about running around and chasing each other and playing all these funny games you played when you were a child.
Yes, I got a few of those.
Yeah, I think it's a misconception, because I tell myself, it has to be a lot more if you're building a team than knowing what to do physically, because your company employed you for what's in your head. So the question would be, when it comes to team building, are there ways we can build teams even in short sessions? Within 20 minutes, within 30 minutes, over, virtually, or even, by way of getting there, like you said, 20 or 30 people together and telling them, look, this. Do you have that kind of thing?
So team building, I think, what's of the type that you mentioned, usually is to get people out of their comfort zone, right? So that they can depend on other people. And that's really what team building is all about, or it should be about. And I think that the type of team building you run around is just one way of exposing that, so that people can learn to trust each other. And can that be done in 20 minutes? I think so, absolutely. If you can create an environment that people feel comfortable enough to be able to open up, because if you give somebody half a problem, at best they can only give you half a solution. So if you try to have everybody open up, lay everything on the table, get them comfortable with each other. If you can do that, then you can achieve as much in 20 minutes and on a one-on-one or a 10-on-1 as you can do running around with team building. So I think you're right. Team building is not just about activity; it's also about the trust that you have with the people that you work with.
But also the mindset of the employees or the people who are working together. Have they gotten to a point where they know how to treat each other on a daily basis? It's not just for that day you go out. It should be on a daily basis. Are you finding out how everyone is doing? Are you able to comfortably have tea together with somebody who probably just called you out on something? I mean, it's also a complete mindset of the employees.
Yeah. So, what kind of attitude do you expect when people are coming for training?
The full range. There are people that come with a preconceived idea of what they think they ought to learn, what they think they know, what they think you ought to be teaching them. There is a whole range, and the beauty about that is that you have a wide range of concepts that you can draw from and examples that you can draw from. And again, as I was saying earlier, if you get people to just open up and be comfortable, then those examples are the very examples that you use as a training, in the training to kind of help people understand that this is what it's about. It may not be congruent with how you think and how you feel, but at the end of the day, this is really what we're trying to do. We're trying to draw out of you your what's the word I'm looking for? When you're uncomfortable with a particular situation, make you comfortable with it so you can share. And once that sharing starts, then I believe progress happens.
How much more do you think we can do in as far as training is concerned? Because technology is changing, things are changing. We've got jobs right now that we didn't know would have existed 15 years ago. I mean, there are people called social media influencers now. Who knew that would be a job?
Sure.
10 years, 15 years ago. And with the advent of social media, everything is just spinning around us. Do you feel even conventional training as we know it is going to change? And how well placed are you to tap into what's coming?
When you say conventional, you mean in person?
Yes. Do you feel like, what do you think is changing that, we say this will be the next frontier?
Yeah. I'm not sure what will be the next frontier. What I can say is that in-person training is, I believe, I mean, virtual is good. Virtual is good when you don't have another way of doing it. But in person, there's so much you get from, for example, if we were going to do this interview virtually, it wouldn't be the same.
No.
We wouldn't get that same connection with each other,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't learn as much from each other, in my opinion. So I think there is still a place for actual in-person training. Virtual, yes, if you need to, no problem. People can do a balance and do a reasonable ratio and still be effective. But I think in person is still really important, and that's why we still have conferences. Otherwise, you'd have virtual conferences everywhere. I think it's really important. Did you?
Yeah, but also just to mention that our facility already takes care of both virtual and in-person training. So the facility that we have, as we mentioned earlier, allows for anyone to train anybody from anywhere. The most ideal is to be there in person and to be able to have that expert there with you. But remember, we're trying to tap into some of the best in the world, and they could be anywhere, training anywhere. But you still have the opportunity to be still able to tap into what they're doing. The next big thing is still going to be, in terms of training, is still going to be in-person training. And
Yeah.
this is for a number of things. I know that a lot of kids now have also gone into homeschooling, and all these things are coming up that most kids who are homeschooling also need to be out there in person. So even kids who are homeschooled always try to find one day out or a few days in the week where they actually meet each other. So one-on-one interaction is still going to be pretty good, but all these facilities that are coming up are enabling us to break that boundary to be able to tap into some of the most unique skills from anywhere in the world. You know, somebody can be in space and still be able to conduct a training here.
Yeah. So we're not a threat from Googlers.
No, but Google is, but I mean, YouTube is very important, because there are so many people that have learned stuff from YouTube that they would not otherwise have been able to learn. So there is a place for virtual training of that. That's a bit informal, but still, I mean, it's still a virtual way of doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I've learned so much. If I have something wrong with the car, I go to YouTube and I find out, oh yeah, that's the way I do it. And so it saved me a lot of money. I mean, it can also create problems too, right? Because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think there's a balance. There's a good balance that needs to be struck. There is a place for virtual training, and there's also a very important place, I believe, for in-person training as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes, when we call companies, you listen to the machine and you want to hang up. You want a person.
That's an example.
That's an example. Yeah.
That's right.
We want to talk to someone, So there's still room for that. So how would you say, in terms of just looking at the way we are as a country and our needs, and the way we deal with things, as a society, how important is it for us to have these kind of trainings? I mean, you're speaking to people who are in business, who are employers, who are employees, who have personal development goals in mind. Every year they say, okay, I'd like to do this. How important is it to factor in training for yourself?
I think it's extremely important. I know that one of the things that we miss, so our education system is such that we are taught to pass exams, but we're not taught to sustainably live with each other, and that's why sometimes you see, we are not very tolerative of each other, even on social media. It's always
horrible.
Yeah, it's always you against us. Kind. Yeah. So I think there's just so much that we need to learn in terms of soft skills, as you mentioned. We need to learn about how to treat each other on the road. I mean, there's just so much road rage that is unnecessary, and it's costing us. I mean, we joke about it all the time about how Kenyans are really bad at driving, but when you look at the statistics of how many people die on the road, it means that we really do need to change the way we do things.
And you've got domestic violence up in the sky.
Yes.
And most times I think it's communication. It's who said what, then who said what.
So learn how to communicate. This is something this soft skills, that's part of the soft skills. And it's so important. What is actually important? When you and I have a disagreement, what is the important thing? It's not about me, it's not about you. Most of us, we try to, I think you mentioned it earlier, we will try to be defensive and defend our corner. Sometimes our corner is indefensible, but we don't care as long as we get our point across. And I think that if we can just take a step back and recognize the respect between each other, then it goes an awfully long way. And at the end of the day, sometimes, when somebody's got a bloody nose and he's sitting wondering, thinking, what was all that about? Was it even worth it? Sometimes it's not worth it. So, and that's the mindset. We come back to this mindset thing again. How do you change that mindset? That's the mindset that needs to be changed. It doesn't have to be about me.
Yeah. You were saying, I think we cut you short.
No, I think he picked it up.
You feel that because of those things, they concern a lot of us when we read the newspaper and we look at how people are talking to people and how to treat. And then we ask ourselves, especially when it comes to like the family front, and you see young people, and I think there were 3 horrible stories the day before yesterday or something. They were just following each other on the news of man has killed his wife. There was another one, the wife has killed it, and it's become normal. We read 3 new items, we are moving on, and we forget about it, and it keeps on piling up. And the other issue I think also that seems to be piling up is the issue of alcoholism and drug abuse. In terms of training, I want you to speak to that. What can we do about that? What do you guys do, if anything, about that? Is it something you're looking into? Is it something
Yeah, we're looking into a number of things. We haven't got to that area yet, mainly because it's difficult to know how to implement that.
Yeah.
Right? Because obviously it's not a not-for-profit organization. So how do we make that work so that people can really get the benefit?
Maybe we do programs for people who are not yet alcoholics. About, you see, for example, like, you know, most companies, you'll find that people drink Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. Some of them are not yet there. They will not consider themselves alcoholics. They're at work on Monday. They're giving in their paperwork on time. They're good, so to speak. But they're already on a trajectory to a problem.
So preventive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a very good idea, actually. That's a very good point, because I think, and the companies are in the best positions to identify those people and maybe even sponsor them, because in the long term, it's in the company's best interest, because you don't have absenteeism, you don't have poor workmanship, you don't have dangerous situations even. So it's really in their best interest to be able to identify that and allow us to help them. So, I mean, that is probably one way it can be done. You know, trying to get the horse back in the stable for those who have really gone down that road and there's no real leverage is a difficult thing. It's more difficult, I believe.
Yeah, and I mean, we also have to realize, as a nation, we really have to identify that as a problem, and as an individual also, you have to get to a point where you identify that this is a problem. Most of us start by being in denial, and by the time you really accept, or when it gets out of hand, it gets a little bit difficult to manage. And part of leadership training also is something that helps you search within yourself to figure out, is this a problem? Even this whole idea of personal branding, it helps you search within yourself, and you're like, okay, what are the priorities in my life right now? So it even though, I mean, when it gets to alcoholism, that's already something that, it needs rehabilitation or something like that. But I think some of the soft skills that we provide can get somebody to a point where they are really, they understand, they're in touch with themselves, or they are comfortable to talk about some of the things that are affecting them in a way that they're able to understand that there's a problem. Yeah.
All right. So where do we find you guys?
Located on Grom Road, Applewood Adams Building, opposite Adams Arcade.
Yeah.
First floor.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys about a minute each. I want you to speak to the people that you'll be speaking to this morning. Talk to them directly. What would be your parting shot? Ladies first. That camera.
So it is absolutely necessary for each one of us to take time with themselves to figure out, do I need additional training on anything and everything, starting right from the kitchen, how you manage your kids, how you manage things at work. And should you be needing help to identify where you need training, you can always contact us, and we can walk you through how to identify where and when, and we'll also take you through the right kind of training that you need.
Victor.
So what is my parting shot? We've talked about leadership, we've talked about mentorship, we've talked about mindset change. But what I want you to think about is what success looks like for you. I want you to imagine what success looks like for you as an individual or as a corporate entity. Now, our job here at Zentori is to help you on your road to success, partner with you on your road to success. On our website, you will see many things that we offer, and we believe the things that we offer will help you on your road to success, whatever road you choose. And we believe that and also on our website, we don't always, we don't display everything that we offer. So if you don't find anything there that you believe would help you on your road to success, please call us, get in touch with us. zentori.co.ke.
Thank you so much for coming, guys. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to visiting your place and seeing what you do.
Thank you very much.
Damaris ODENY, she's the director, and Victor Allen, co-founder of the Zentori Conference. And that's it about leadership and training. Do have a wonderful morning. God bless you. Good day.